Okay, so this presentation is going to be about the Hebrew aleph bet, which is where we get our alphabet from. I'll take these off to start with. Okay, so it is similar to the alphabet, but it has a number of upgrades. The first difference is that there are 22 letters rather than thous, I can't remember, 26 is it? And then the letters are also pictures, like pictograms, so sort of simplified pictorial shapes. So the upgrade is that they are pictograms as well as letters, which means that if you are spelling a word in Hebrew, then the word not only has the meaning which is represented by the use of it in common language, but it also has the meaning that the Most High, that God meant for it, if you look at the meaning of each individual letter and then you sort of package that together in terms of what each meaning for each letter together means. So I'll do some of the meanings for the words when I've gone through each letter of the aleph bet. So it starts with aleph. Is that? See that? Let me put the. Okay, yeah. Let me put some glasses on, so I'm getting a reflection. Okay, so right, that's aleph. So what it is in terms of its letter, the pictorial representation is an ox, like an ox's head. And so, as you can see there, aleph, so the meaning in a word that you would put together when you were spelling the word to find the sort of intrinsic meaning is it represents an ox, first leader, being aloof or being strong. Next one is bet, which is like a tent, like a house. So it means house, household, into, in, family, and inside. The next one is gimel, which is like if you simplified the shape of a camel's head in relation to its body, and it means lifted up, pride, reward, or a benefit. Gimel. And then you have dalet, which is like the sort of the fabric door on a tent. So like one of the first, kind of like when they were travelling in the wilderness, you know, the tent door. So dalet, equivalent to our D really, is door, path, to or enter. And then hey is behold, reveal, or the. And you can see that some of the letters correspond actually to our letters. So hey is like a sound, which is similar to our E. So it's kind of where we've got E from. I should really be going through the sound of it. Actually, I'll go through the sounds of them all when I've done all of these. And then we've got vav, which is a nail, secure, hook, and or add. And then you have zayin, which is a weapon, cut off. Then you have chet, which is a fence, to separate, or private, to make private. Then you have tet, kind of like with reference to what's inside and that being surrounded. So surround or a snake. Then you have yud, which is the hand that's represented like at the end of the arm, to make a deed or work, so the work of your hands kind of thing. Then you have kaf, which is the palm, so as you sort of would cup your palm off of your arm, and maybe if it was raised, a palm to cover, open or allow. And then lamed, which is like a shepherd's hook, so shepherd's shaft, what does that say? authority, the tongue, or control. And then there's maim, which is like the rushing waters of life. Water, activity, life, massive, and chaos also. Like the chaotic primordial waters, sort of as they're spoken of in Genesis. Spirit hovered over the water, and the darkness upon the face of the deep. That's sort of, the sort of potential for massive chaos, not chaotic chaos as in so much kind of thing, not chaos as in negative, and life. Anyway, so the next one is nun, which is similar. This, in terms of it being also a representation, a way to represent life. So this is like a fish darting through water, meaning activity, action, life. So it's almost like the lightning of life. That lightning strike, more like the electrical side of life, of the spark of life. So the spark of life. And then samek is the next one, which means to twist. To twist, so it's slightly similar to vav, which means to twist and push in. To prop, support, turn, twist slowly. And then you have ayin, which is like an eye, so it means eye, see, reveal, to know or experience. And then you have pay, which is kind of like a very simplified representation of a head and then sort of open mouth, so the mouth. And it means, so this is how it's kind of represented in sort of modern Hebrew, which is kind of a little bit useless because you don't really get the feeling of what the pictogram is. But I put it there, obviously, so if you were sort of reading an interlinear Bible and you wanted to find out what each letter was, you're going to have to try to look at what they've got there, which is usually something like that, as it was in each of these. And then you can see what it is, because to me, unless I was really learning the language, it's difficult just to look at something like that. It's too abstract. These guys are too abstract to really remember. So yeah, I'm going with the more ancient representation, the more ancient pictograms. So anyway, this is pay, means mouth, speak a word, open, or voice. And then you have tsade, which is a fish hook, a need to catch or to desire. And then you have kuf, which is the back of the head, sort of represented by the emphasis of the curl. Let's see what I point to, the curl here. Back of the head, the least, sort of the last, least, last, or behind. And then you have reish, which is the head, so like the head as in, not sort of front or back, but like the head, the top. So head, people, highest, I like the word person, the highest. And then you have sheen, which is like teeth, and like it means obviously teeth, destroy, devour, and consume. And then the last one is tav, which is it's the sign. It's a covenant, the sign, cross, or to seal. So just to give a side note. So when people say, "Oh, Yeshu, Jesus died on the cross," he didn't actually die on a cross. He was, according to scriptures, somebody who was, unlawfully, illegally crucified on a tree, because it said he had to fulfill the scripture. So it said, "Cursed is every man that hangs on a tree." So he had to fulfill that scripture. And nobody, even today, they wanted to get rid of somebody who they were determined to be a criminal, is going to get a carpenter to carve out these perfect, planks of wood, and then cross-halving joint them nicely. And for somebody who they're murdering, no. So he didn't die on a cross. Hollywood likes to show it like that, but it wasn't like that. What happened was they'll just find strong trees somewhere. It makes your stomach turn really. Strong tree somewhere, and then those who were condemned would just take the cross the member that went across, and they will take that on their back because, you know, then force them to carry it like they did Yeshu. And then they would just nail that member onto the tree. Maybe they had a little dugout bit in the tree, you know, and put it in. But yeah, so it was a tree, it wasn't a cross. So the sign is more of a representation of what he died, because obviously, you know, that doesn't actually, you know, none of these, that doesn't actually look like your teeth, you know. It's just a representation. So this cross is just a representation. Don't go around hanging it around your neck and stuff. Don't know what you're celebrating somebody dying for. Anyways, so right, so just to give you two examples of a word with using these Hebrew letters. So the word mother is given as aleph mem. So aleph, as we saw, find it in the pack. Aleph is the first, and so aleph mem, meaning the first strong water of life. So mum in the house is considered to be the first strong water. I'm just trying to flick through to find it. There it is. The first water of life. So that's how God sees what a mother is. I think it's the right way around. Yeah. Aleph mem. So the first strong waters, the first waters of life, the first activity, the strong activity in the house. That's, well, the strong activity actually, not the house. That's just coming up in a minute. So yeah, that's how God sees the mum, is the strong activity, you know. Or let's see another one, the aloof and massive. So that's mum. So then you see, oh, that's what. So it's so brilliant. So then you see, oh, that's how God sees the mum in the house, you know. So it's just the beauty of this is beyond, really. It's on another level. So that's how God sees a mum. So how, and that's aim. So how God sees the father of the house, I'm trying to find it now, should be, is aleph bet, which is aleph and then bet. So God sees the father as the first in the household, so the first in the family, the strong family, the aloof, let's say the aloof inside, the aloof inside. But basically, I would say with the dad, it's the leader of the household. I think that's a good one. So what you do with a lot of, in most instances with Hebrew, is you mix all of the meanings, and then all of the meanings. So if you have words, sometimes the words are quite long, so maybe you have like 6 or 7 letters, and then each step you mix the meanings to see what the word means. So it's really kind of rewarding. It just takes a long time if you're doing a Bible study. But anyway, so that's how God sees the father in a house, as, let's say, the what did we say? The leader of the household. So he's not like nota bentu, whatever it is, NB. It does not say, see, head. There's a oh dear. Anyway, I might be going off on one now. But there's a letter for head, isn't it? We saw that, which was reish, yeah? It's not reish bet, it's much richer. It's the leader. It's not just the head, you know, he's the leader. So you're leading, yeah? So that's how God sees a father. And just as a I suppose it's just the end really. You have, let's see if I can get the letters. So I should be able to rustle those up fairly quickly. So you've got aleph, what is it, aleph? Aleph, mem, and then tav. Yeah? Let's see if I can get those. Yeah, aleph, mem, tav. So you've got aleph, mem, tav. Aleph, mem, tav. And so what happens, because most of the letters in, I think all of them actually really are kind of what you would call consonants, but some of them have vowel sounds. Oh yeah, I'm gonna whip through the sounds. I'll just do that quickly in a minute. So you've got aleph, mem, tav. So that's like so according to, as I've kind of read a little bit, I'm not a scholar or anything Hebrew, I'm just sort of learning very slowly. So apparently different people who were using Hebrew, different Hebrews in different regions would decide on what vowel sounds they would put between each of the letters. So this could be M-to, 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 which, interestingly enough, is my mum's maiden name. And M-to means truth. M-to, M-to, M-to. Okay, so I'm just going to whip through. I hope they're all in order. I'm just going to get them in order. Alphabets. They're probably out of order now, but let me try to put them in some order. I'm just going to give the pronunciation of them. You know, it might be out of order. They're mostly in. Might have one or two wrong, so you're going to have to excuse me for that. Right, so that's more or less right. Okay, so I'm going to whip through these and then that'll be it. Okay, so that's ah, ah. Actually, yeah, that's but just as a side note, whenever you have the with the lamed, it's usually pronounced so this might be more of a or according to what is after it, or and then you have b, and then you have g, then you have d, then you have it's like yud hey vav hey, so yay he they he, like a breath, meaning hey, there it is, behold, it's like a breath of realization kind of thing. And then you've got vav, and then you've got zayin. Oh, I don't know, I'm supposed to be doing the sounds, aren't I? So that's kind of like a W the sound. Again, like a bit of air coming. Vav, and then z, and then h, and then t, and then y, and then k, and then l, and then m, and then n, and then s, and then u, and then p, and then s, and then k, and then r, and then sh, and t. That's it for now.